Texting, Mayday, 67897. I should have stopped sniffing glue, but I didn't. Anyway, segment 2, welcome back here to lovely South Shore, Mass. We can't disclose our exact location because the FBI is always trying to find us, and we've got to stay one step ahead of the curve. But we are somewhere in the Commonwealth, South Shore, that's my only clue. Okay, this is segment 2, IDD, for those of you who know, I don't disagree. For those of you on I am the highly questionable and arguing at you, that is don't go near my backhand, Ian Skinner. Okay, this man, a local tennis legend, played at UMD, was a solid 3-4 there, winning record. Won some battles, lost a few, won a few. Some say cocky, some say brash. I say accomplished, because he was. We are here, segment 2. Merry Christmas. And by the way, outside right now, holy Moses. I don't know. Is it time to build the ark? Is it time?
Might be. It's been
I don't
raining
know.
for 2 days.
We've got the 2 bitter Boston sports fans already. Want to throw them on there? We're ready to go. So segment 2, we are going to switch to hoops. The conundrum. I think that was the word you used, right? Conundrum. The conundrum, the mystery, the whatever, the enigma, if you will.
I like that.
That is the Boston Celtics, who on paper have the best team in basketball.
Most talented,
deepest roster, two studs. Jaylen Brown is a stud.
2 wings.
We both were wrong about it. We both missed on Jaylen Brown. We were at that party when he drafted, and we were throwing things. And that guy had kudos to him. Because
on his game.
He is not a Robin to a Batman. He is a 1 and a 1A is what they
Gets
are.
better every year.
He gets better every year, and he's improved every year. He has. And this is what drives us mad, because on paper, this team is the team to beat. And the funny thing about this is, and we'll get into this later, but tonight they're hosting Minnesota, and the Milwaukee Bucks, everybody says they're 1 and 1A. They're on a collision course, so to speak. They're in Brooklyn to face the suddenly woke up Brooklyn Nets, and that's a big game. So they're big games tonight, and then they meet on Christmas Day. The Celtics and the Bucks in Boston. So, but, Brian Scaberinee, you got to look, Brian.
I know you want hot takes, my friend. If you want a hot take, you want to be the first one with a hot take. You might want to wait.
We get the ratings. I understand wanting. I understand clicks. I get it.
He's trying to get his brand going.
I get, the brand, the White Mamba brand. I still can't understand how you got that name and got away with it. That's Diana Taurasi, for those of you in the know, by the way. She was the real White Mamba because Kobe gave her that nickname. Nobody gave Brian that nickname. I think Kevin.
She could score.
Yeah, she could score. She's a player.
He can't.
He can't. No. Not in a room full of whores with a fistful of hundreds. Okay? The bottom line is the Celtics, after Brian Scaberinee said, and I quote, This team is better than the 2008 Celtics, who, refresh my memory, and that team, they won a title, right?
They won a title. Did.
They were 66-16, right?
Wire to wire.
Yeah. They had the best defense in the last 20 years, statistically speaking.
And one of the best defensive players
ever
of
all time in his prime, Kevin Garnett, who'd won a league MVP already when he got to Boston. Yet somehow,
3 Hall of
Famers, Ray Allen, Shuttlesworth, one of the greatest three-point shooters that has ever or will ever live. Some guy named Pierce.
Paul Pierce.
I think Shaq called him the truth once upon a time. What does Shaq know? What is semantic? 4 rings. He's a nobody. Forget Shaq. I know who Shaq is. I don't know if that's even short for. Never heard of him before. Scab. Anyway, so that team, the 2008 Celtics, who bitch slapped the fake show. I think one game, the deciding game was they won by 42 points, I might add. Talk about a stamp on it. Like the season, taking out the fake show and Kobe Bryant in his prime by 42 points. And now this team, this one, who has suddenly lost, was it 4 out of 6 or 5? What is
5
it?
out of 6.
5 out of 6 or whatever. All right, and 2 of those games were to the Orlando Tragic. That's right, Tragic.
Back to back.
At home, I might add. And then Indiana, who was, 15-16 the other night, comes in here. And a player that we dumped, Aaron Naismith, who couldn't get off our bench last year, drops 15. And they lose then. And now suddenly they're looking up at the Milwaukee Bucks. But this team, who now has 10 losses, the team he's comparing them to had 16 the entire season. This team is better than that one.
This team that... game to game with this Celtics team, you just don't know what you're going to get. There's no excuse for them to come out the way they did against Indiana and fall behind by 28 points
at the half.
At the half,
after losing back-to-back at home to Orlando,
after getting whooped by the Orlando Magic, you would think there'd be a sense of urgency or a sense of pride that we're the best. Let's go out and show. No,
you and I grew up on a term, Celtic pride. I have yet to see it.
Yeah,
I don't know if these guys have ever heard of it. They might want to look up in the rafters.
I think the word that comes to mind with this team is front runner. They're a team when the shots are falling and they're beating a team. They're feeling good. But when a little adversity comes their way, they fold. And that's what's the most troubling. And that's why I'm really skittish on this team about really believing in them because the Golden State game to me,
that was the one that
said everything.
That said everything.
Because we were talking about that game. We said this is the moment. Who are these guys?
Who are these guys? Because this was the team that took it from them. And let's be honest, they didn't take it from them. They gave it to them. And I'll say this till the cows come home because I was on this show screaming about the 40 turnovers.
How many?
40 in 2 games that led to 49 points.
NBA team?
NBA, a finals team with the name Boston on it.
A lot of those were unforced.
Most of them were unforced.
Yeah.
Okay, you can't give a good team, let alone the Golden State Warriors, 22 points in one game and 27 in the next, and expect to win.
So we keep going back to the same thing. So you have that experience.
Experience,
and then
which you should have learned from.
Yeah, and now the humiliating loss.
Embarrassing.
They lost. They had a chance to win.
They gave it away. They literally gave it away.
We're now fast forward into the new season.
Yep.
We're the number 1 team in the league,
and they had just pounded Phoenix. I mean, that was
30 points.
We thought that was and it wasn't that close. At one point, it was 45, and they called off the Dogs. And Golden State was up next, and we were like, "All right, this is the moment. This is the game where they gotta. This is the team that took it from them.
We're gonna put it on."
And Jason Tatum,
no show, lost.
Who was blasted, justifiably so, for his performance. Because that was the other thing. Forget the 40 turnovers in games 5 and 6. Jason Tatum was a no-show in that final. And whether he ran out of gas from the Olympics, which I understand that could have happened.
2 7-game series.
2 7-game series back-to-back. All right, maybe he ran out of gas. Okay. All right. Okay, I can buy that. But this I can't buy. Because he heard it all freaking summer long. He heard it into the fall. And he came out of the gate like he heard it. He came out of the gate like not only did he hear it, but it registered. Okay, he took notes, and he was like, this ain't happening again. And that's how he came out of the gate. Everything leading up to this game pointed to this kid finally figured it out. And he talks about Kobe Bryant all the time. As much as I can't stand Kobe Bryant because he was a Laker, but Kobe Bryant had a killer mentality. And Kobe Bryant, God rest his soul, would never let this happen again if that happened to him. That's who he was, and that's how he became Kobe Bryant.
He took it personally.
Because he took it personally like Michael Jordan, like Bird, like all the greats do. They take it personally, and they come back better. And up until that game, that's what Tatum looked like.
And he looked like a deer in headlights. Like that like, I don't know what to do. They threw a defense. Steve Kerr's a great coach. But, I mean, Wiggins didn't even play in that game.
Wiggins, who gave him fits, wasn't even on the floor.
So who was covering him? I mean, he just didn't make the right read. Again, not making the right read, dribbling into double teams. It just lost. And when your best player looks like that.
And Jaylen Brown showed up that night.
He did. But
to Jaylen Brown's credit, he did. Yeah. But you're not going to beat that team with one guy.
When your best player doesn't show up.
Here's the thing, and you'll agree with me on this. One team looked like it had something to prove, and one team looked like it didn't. And that team was the team that had won 4 rings in 8 years. The team that doesn't have anything to prove. They've proven it over and over again.
So from that,
they're the one but that's why they've got 4 rings in 8 years, because that's their mentality when a team that comes into their gym in a game when they're healthy. Now they're banged up now, and Steph's out for health. They're going to sink probably, and maybe we don't see him again. I pray to God we don't, because they got his number. They're in his head and they're dancing around.
And my issue is, so that happens.
Yeah.
And now they're in a tailspin, and they can't recover from that moment.
Oh.
Like that game's over.
It's over.
But they're still, it's in their heads.
And Jason Tatum, after the game, made it sound like it was over. I mean, well, look, it's one game, and you guys are making more out of it. Well, here's the problem, Jason. Since that game, you've looked like shit.
What is that statement when you heard him say that it meant more to the media?
The media and the fans than him.
What was your reaction?
My reaction was Jason Tatum has no idea who his fan base is. He has no idea the uniform that he wears. He has no understanding of the history of the team he plays for. And he clearly doesn't care.
But
the problem is, Jason, is that we're the majority here.
Here's
he and I aren't the minority in this.
Here's what I think. Here's what I have a slightly different opinion about this. I think it matters a lot more to him than he leads on. And I think it was too big of a moment for him. And he just doesn't know how to handle it.
Well, how many of these are we going to have?
That's my feeling about Jason.
Because
it's like, well, are you ready for this?
He couldn't handle it at Duke when they should have won a national championship. That team was loaded at Duke, and they couldn't close the deal. Okay, he's been to 3. Everybody keeps talking about, well, he's been to 4 conference finals. I'm like, you can't close the deal. He gets to that point, and the moment's too big. Well, how many of these too big moments are we going to have, Ian, before he finally gets over this hurdle? How many of these moments is he going to finally just realize, I'm the best player in the world, and there's nothing you can do about it? And if I want to, and all I have to do is figure out which part of my game I'm going to use that night to beat you with.
I mean, I'm not saying he's not Jordan, but
no, he's not.
It took Jordan 27.
Jordan had to go through a lot more
True.
than this guy had to go through. Jordan had to deal with an in his prime Larry Bird. Jordan had to deal with an in his prime Magic, a Dr. J still in his prime. Okay, some guy named Olajuwon, the bad boys. He had obstacles. Hall of Fame, Charles Barkley. He had Hall of Fame obstacles to deal with.
I mean, he's had the Game 7 against Cleveland where we should have won that game.
Yeah.
And there's the finals. I mean, we can even in his young career. I mean, he's had opportunities.
Yeah, and look, I get the one losing to LeBron at that moment. He was 21 years old. Okay, you're young, but you're there. You're right there. You're close. Nothing's changed in 3 years. Has his game technically gotten better? Yep. He's a better all-around player now, physically. But where is he up here? I know you didn't. Shut up. That's my phone. See, even my phone is questioning it. My watch and my phone are going, yeah, Jason Tatum, I don't get it. Okay? Because he's got all the talent in the world.
All the talent.
The only thing between this kid and immortality is what is between the ears. It's not physical. Fundamentally, he's great. When he wants to pass, he can pass. When he wants to play D, I saw him block not 1, but 2 Kevin Durant jump shots. This is the jump shot that people say couldn't be blocked. It was like saying the Titanic couldn't sink. And then he blocked 2 of his jump shots in the playoffs last year, which told me he had turned a corner then.
I'm gonna show my age right now, right? So I watched Jason. I watched the Golden State game. Their Celtics are down by 20. Mm-hmm. Draymond Green drives to the basket.
Oh, God.
Draymond Green falls on his face. First he barrels into Jason Tatum like he's going to knock him over, and then he falls down. Mm-hmm. You know who helps him up?
Jason Tatum.
My reaction was I just disbelief because I'm old school. You think Larry Bird would ever helped him up? You think Kevin Garnett would have helped up Draymond Green?
And then after Michael Jordan would have helped him up.
And then after
I
the
don't
game,
think any of these guys would have helped him up.
After the game, the hugs and the
kissing and the
let's
get a picture.
That's my question. Can someone from his generation with this AAU, like we're all best friends,
we're all boys.
Does he have the killer
instinct? New Boy Network. It's the New Boy Network.
You got to be a killer to win it in this league, and is he that guy?
Michael Jordan was famous for shit like this, for befriending his opponents and then lulling them into it, and then all of a sudden the real Michael Jordan came out, and they didn't know how to handle it. And to this day, they're still freaked out by it. They can't understand what happened. What happened was he was a killer, and he understood at the end of the day his legacy was going to be it's going to be him or you, and it ain't going to be him. It's going to be you. You're going down.
And Draymond Green, when
Draymond Green
Tatum helps him up, he's like, I got him.
Yeah, I got him.
He's soft. He's soft. That's what he's thinking.
And what Jason Tatum needs to understand is his fan base knows it. It's not that we don't like you. It's not that we don't root for you. But you have to get over this, man. Draymond Green is not going to hand you into the Hall of Fame. He's not going to hand you a title. He'll punch you in the face before he gives you one of his rings. That's the truth.
He's not
about
your boy.
Draymond. He's not your boy. He ain't your boy. He's in your way. Okay, and he ain't the only one in your way. And the faster you understand what he's doing to you, the better off you and we are all going to be. And until you do, this shit is going to continue to happen. And this is the most frustrating thing about this for me, because this is the most talented team in this town. If you want to take the 4 sports, look, we'll get into the Bruins next segment, what they're doing. But the Celtics, top to bottom, they're the best team in their sport, on paper.
Yeah.
They are.
Multiple.
They really are.
They can guard multiple positions.
They can play any kind of style if they want to.
They can run.
And
they can grind.
They can do it all if they really want to. Mm-hmm. And last year when they made their run, it was about defense. It wasn't about the three-point shot. It was about defense. They haven't looked like themselves defensively, but for maybe 2 or 3 games all season. And yeah, the Time Lord's been out, and I get that. He's back now, though. He's back now. He played 22 minutes the other night. He's back, and they're working him back into the rotation. This you got to start locking people down the way you used to lock people down.
Their identity is not scoring 130 points and playing like the Golden State Warriors.
No, their identity is that your opponent didn't want to see you on the calendar because they knew, oh, damn, these guys are
no open looks.
No open look, no nothing. Every time we go down the lane, it's going to get...
We run a pick and roll. The guy who comes off the pick can guard me. Yeah. Everybody can guard me.
Everybody can guard everybody. There's no open looks. Everything's going to be forced. That's the team you were. That is how you got to the finals last year because it wasn't on your fundamentals, okay? Because you still were turning the ball over at an alarming rate. You still were shooting too many threes, okay? And I get it. I get the league, and I get where it's going. But you cannot, because Steph Curry and Klay Thompson are not your backcourt, you guys can shoot. They're knockdown shooters. Ray Allen was a knockdown shooter. Larry Bird was a knockdown shooter. These are the guys that when they were open, the other bench went, no! Because they knew. And there's actually pictures of the Lakers doing that when Bird's on the floor. If you think I'm making that one up, okay? You don't have a shooter like that on this roster. Okay, this kid, Howitz or whatever his name is, he might, maybe, but he's not really there yet. He's a G Leaguer who's wide open because nobody knows who he is. Let's see what he does in February and March when everybody has the book on him and what he can do. And then we'll see if he's still doing what he's doing. The bottom line is, you were that team nobody wanted to play. You're not that team right now.
And I feel like the coach, I'll say interim because that's what he should be called right now. That's what he should be called. He needs to start acting like a coach.
Like he's not.
He's got to stop being afraid to call this team out. Mm-hmm. He's got to stop trying to be their friends and stop trying to kiss their behind in the press conferences. When your first half and you're down by 28, he was trying to spin it. Well, our second half was good, but your first half was horrible. I mean, where's the passion? Where's the calling out the players? I mean,
the only acceptable scenario for that first half against Indiana would have been injury to several starters. Okay? That is the only acceptable scenario after you lose back-to-back at home to the Orlando Tragic. A team that came in that was 1-11 on the road and left here 3-11 on the road.
It's a young team with no clue. I mean, how do we lose to them? I mean,
how do you lose
effort.
to them?
It's effort.
That's effort. That's not taking them seriously. This is a marathon, not a sprint. This is load management bullshit.
We haven't won anything yet.
You've won nothing.
You cannot walk out on the court like that. You're not the champions.
You're not the Golden State Warriors.
No.
You're not even the Milwaukee Bucks, who won a ring 2 years ago and would have won one last year if they were healthy because they would have beat your asses. Because they had news for you. Giannis took you to 7 by himself. If Middleton was healthy, they'd have lost. Because they were doing the same shit they did against Golden State against them, but Milwaukee didn't have the firepower to take advantage of it. Same thing with Miami. If Tyler Hero's healthy, they lose to Miami. That's reality because they thought the Celtics were under this delusion that their talent could overcome fundamentals. It cannot. It cannot. Not at the highest levels. And you got to go through multiple teams if you want to get that elusive 18th ring.
And I think it's Marcus Smart, it's Al Horford, it's these veterans that have to. We've got to call a team meeting, and just get everything out.
And
don't
have the coach in the room.
No
coach has no business in this because he ain't going to do it anyway.
No.
Okay, I don't believe it's his personality. He can sit there with that iron, straight-faced, bullshit face in the sideline. That's a fucking mask.
He's an
assistant. If he had half of the attitude of that face of his, this shit would have stopped a week ago. Okay, that's a fraud. When you sit there and you make this, and then you get in front of the camera, well, our second half was better than our first half. That tells you all you know about that face. That's an act. That's not who he is. Because if that guy was there, that shit would have ended at halftime of the first Orlando game, which they were losing, by the way. And ended up losing that first Orlando game. That would have ended then.
And it's 50-50 balls. Mm-hmm. It's giving up offensive rebound. I mean, this is just all effort.
Fundamentals and effort.
Fundamentals and effort.
That's all it is.
That's inexcusable.
None.
At this point. It really is. I mean, you can't just walk out on the court and say, well, we're more talented. That's not enough. That's not going to get you a win.
When the Boston Celtics were the Boston Celtics, the one thing that they always hung their hat on, regardless of the era, regardless of the generation, was fundamentals. You were not going to outplay the Boston Celtics. You might have more stars, but you're not going to outplay them.
And
They are
back
not going to beat themselves. They're not going to miss free throws. How many? The fucking free throw line's another one. I mean, they're not going to get out rebounded. They're not going to turn the ball over any more than that. No.
and Brian Scalabrini, let me tell you something.
God.
Kevin Garnett would not let this happen.
No.
What has happened over the last 3 games?
No.
It would not happen.
No. Paul Pierce wouldn't have let it happen. And I can't
No.
stand Paul Pierce. And he would. I've never been a Pierce. He knows me. I've never been a Pierce fan. To me, Pierce would never have let this happen.
No.
Ray Allen would never have let this happen. Okay? There's a lot of guys that were in that locker room. Kendrick Perkins, dare I say, would not have let this happen.
You cannot compare these teams.
You cannot compare
ever.
the 2008 Celtics who pistol whipped Kobe and the Lakers and Pau Gasol to this bunch of front runners who they take more threes than twos because they're soft, not because they can shoot them. They're soft.
And if they go 13 for 52 tonight, I won't be surprised.
Nope.
I hope that's not what I see tonight. I hope.
And that's what's frustrating, Ian, because between Jaylen Brown and Tatum, who are 2 of the best slashers,
they can take anyone off the
and
dribble.
Brogdon off the bench, they got 3 or 4 guys that can take.
They can get to the rim.
Get to the rim at will and just live at the foul line and force that defense to change because they're in foul trouble. That's how you wear a team down. If you're that's their game, defense and penetration.
Breaking
and
them down.
It's not, to his point, the first 3 that
Pass and
shows.
chuck, pass and chuck.
That's not them.
No.
They're never going to be good enough to do that. Okay, I don't want to hear about a 2-week stretch in November. That means nothing to a guy like him and me who are used to watching this team in June. This team ain't going to be playing in June if it keeps playing like this. They'll get a high seed. They'll probably win a round or 2. But they run into a healthy Milwaukee team, or dare I say it, a healthy Brooklyn team that's pissed off that they swept last year. Because Brooklyn don't look like the Brooklyn I used to see. They look like they're on a mission right now. Like they got humiliated. That the Celtics pantsed them. Let's be honest. The Celtics pantsed them last year. And Kyrie Irving is finally playing like a man who has something to prove for once. We'll see how long he maintains it. Okay? And Kevin Durant's still Kevin Durant last time I checked.
He's having a great season.
He's having a great season. They're not. That team is for real.
We were a defensive team last year.
We were a defensive.
If we play like we're playing right now against those guys, they're going to run us off the court.
They'll run us off the court. They got to go back, and the pieces are all still there. This is not a question of can they physically do this. Oh, they can do this in waves. Okay? They have to get back to you're not scoring. That's it. And if you do score, it's going to be from 35 feet because there ain't going to be no rebound. You're going to get one shot of possession, and that's going to be
Last year they were on a string. I mean, all the guys. I mean, they were defensively. They were locked in. This year it's all over the place. The lanes are wide open. Guys are getting wide open looks.
Guys that we've never heard of are getting wide open looks.
They're making guys look.
Who was that kid from Indiana?
Halliburton.
Yeah, you ever heard of him? I'm a basketball savant, if you will. I have never heard of this guy. I looked at the box score and I'm like, who the fuck is this asshole? 32 points. 30? Who? What? Who? Comes into Boston after you just got... And this guy, 32 points. Talk about asleep at the wheel right now.
Let's see what happens tonight.
They are hosting the Minnesota Timberwolves tonight, and on Christmas Day, here comes that man. Mama, here comes that man.
He's coming down the lane with a lot of bad intentions.
A lot of bad intentions.
And if we're not...
By the way, for those of you not in the know, that man is Giannis Antetokounmpo, the Greek freak, who still remembers last year's finals and is playing like he remembers it. Jason. So, to his point, we will see what happens tonight. They're actually tapping off right about now. Actually, they've started. We're not going to give you an update yet because we don't want to throw up in our shorts. But we're going to take a break. We'll come back one more segment. We're going to close on a positive note on this Christmas, this festive. We've been bitter, but justifiably bitter. But you know what?
Honest.
But you know what? We've been honest. That's the key word, honest. Because nothing we're saying is a lie here. It's all true. It's all on the tape. The tape don't lie. But you know what else is on the tape? Right here.
Bees.
Right here. We're going to come back and we're going to do something that has not been done on this show. Tom. Okay, my partner, who I miss, by the way. Merry Christmas, I love you. But we're going to do something. We're going to talk hockey. Jim Billy, your moment has come. Okay? Right after the break, we're going to talk about the scorching, streaking, filthy 26-4 Boston Bruins, who have yet to lose at home. And it's Christmas. They are playing tonight against the Devils. So we will come back. We're going to close on a positive segment. You guys grab another cold, frosty, delicious beverage, because I'm going to. And we'll see you on the other side. Hold on.